Mr. Cleland here from Cleland Maths. Today we're going to be looking at ratio. What is ratio? If you look here, we've got 4 red circles and we've got 7 purple squares. So we can say that the ratio of circles to squares is 4 to 7. The ratio of circles to squares is 4 to 7. Notice the dot in the middle. We can do the same with squares to circles. The ratio of squares to circles is 7, because there's 7 squares, to 4. 7 dot dot 4. And that's a basic understanding of what ratio is. It's basically working out how many there are of a given thing to another given thing. Okay. Let's do another example. So example 1, it says write down the ratio of cats to dogs. So question A was 1, 2, 3 cats, so that's 3 dot dot, and how many dogs is there? 1, 2, 3, 4, so it's 4. 3 to 4 is what we'd say. Let's do question B. Now we don't have to count them this time because we've already written down the numbers, but let's just check. There's 4 dogs, 4, 2, and there's 3 cats, 3. 4 to 3. Nice and simple. So the next thing we're going to do is look at ratio calculations. So if we look at the next example, it says Mrs. Jones makes homemade lentil soup for her husband. She mixes lentils with peas in the ratio of 2 cups of lentils to 1 cup of peas. It then asks us some questions. How many cups of peas can she mix with 6 cups of lentils? Part B, lentils does she mix with 5 cups of peas? Part C, peas with 20 cups of lentils. Now we always do these questions in exactly the same way. The first thing we do, we need to work out the ratio that we need to start with. So the ratio of lentils to peas is 2 to 1. So that's what we're going to be looking at. That's going to be our main thing. This 2 to 1 is what we're going to be using for the whole question. So now let's look at question A. How many cups of peas does she mix with 6 cups of lentils? Well, our basic ratio is 2 to 1. But we now know that with the lentils, remember the lentils is the number 2, that's going to become number 6. So if times 2 by 3 to get 6, we always think, what can we times by? How many 2s are in 3? 6. Sorry, how many 2s are in 6? 3. So I now need to times the 1 also by 3 to make it fair. So 1 times 3 is 3. So I've now got to end up with a ratio of 6 to 3. So that means that the answer is 3 cups of peas. Okay, let's do the next one. Part B says, how much lentils does she mix with 5 cups of peas? So our basic ratio again, remember, was 2 to 1. And remember, the 2 is the lentils and the 1 is the peas. This time it's telling us about the peas, so I'll put the 5 underneath the 1 because that is peas, remember. 1 times 5 is 5, so 2 times 5 is 10. And I know I've got 10 cups of lentils. I'll leave the last question for you to work out. It says how many peas with 20 cups of lentils. So remember, start with your lentils. Think about what you need to times by to make 20 and times the same for your peas. Okay, let's move on now to sharing money. So ratio, sharing money. So quite often with ratio, you'll be given the ratio and you'll have to then share out a certain amount of money in that ratio, okay? Or it could be a certain amount of chocolate or a certain amount of anything really that you can share. So we'll just go through an example. It says share £1,000 between Ian and Alex in the ratio of 2 to 3. So I've highlighted the main things that we need. So it's £1,000 in the ratio 2 to 3. So if we look at this in the ratio 2 to 3, if you imagine that we do it in steps, the first time I give money to Ian, he'll get £2. And then Alex would also get £3. So in total, taking the 2 plus the 3, I would have £5 the first time. So this 2's come from the ratio from the 2, and this 3's come from the number 3 in the ratio. So every time I'm sharing out £5, I need to work out how many times do I need to share out £5 so that the whole £1,000 is used up. So I take my £1,000 and I obviously have to divide by 5 to work out how many times I need to do this. So if I use a bus stop, 5 goes into 10 twice, 0, 5 nothings are nothing, 5 nothings are nothing. I need to do this 200 times. We can just quickly check, 200 times 5 is 1,000. So now all I need to do is work out, if it was fair, we would get £500 each, but it's 2 to 3. So I now need to work out how much each person gets. So using our ratio, I've got 2 to 3. I'm timesing by 200 because I'm doing it 200 each time, just like the previous calculations. 2 times 200 is 400. 3 times 200 is 600. And then I need to answer my actual question. Ian is 2, Alex is 3. So Ian gets £400. Alex gets £600. Okay. Okay, let's do the second question so you can see where this is going. So the second question says, share £120 in the ratio 3 to 1. So step 1, I write down my ratio 3 to 1, and I work out how much we would have in total after we shared out some money the first time. So 3 add 1 equals 4 in total. If I gave £3 to Jill and £3 to Anne, and £1 to Jill, I would have given out £4 in total. I now need to work out how many times I need to give out that £4 until I've used up the whole £120. So I take my 120 and divide by 4. Remember, 4 is our key number. We get that by just adding the ratio. You can use a bus stop if you want, but 3 goes into 12. 4 goes into 12 3 times. 4 goes into nothing 0 times. So I need to do it 30 times. Writing down our ratio again, we get 3 to 1. So I need to times each of them by the 30. 3 times 30 is 90. 1 times 30 is 30. Quick check, 90 plus 30 makes 120, which is what we're trying to share out. So answering the question, Anne gets £90 and Jill gets £30. The last thing we need to be able to do is something called simplifying ratio. So simplifying a ratio. So if I write down a simple example, if I had a ratio 4 to 6, we've already seen that we can scale that up by timesing, but we can also make it as simple as possible by dividing. So if I just need to find the number that goes into both 4 and 6, the biggest number, and that is 2. So if I divide this by 2, do the same thing to both sides. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. So 4 to 6 simplified is 2 to 3. Let's do a second example. So let's say we had the ratio 10 to 15. So I look at my numbers 10 and 15 and think, what's the biggest number, the highest common factor, that goes into 10 and 15? Well, that's 5. So 5's my key number. That's what I'm dividing by. So I divide the left hand side by 5, the right hand side by 5. 10 divided by 5 is 2. 15 divided by 5 is 3. So that simplified again is 2 to 3. Let's do one other example to make sure we get ones where the answer is not always 2 to 3, in case you're thinking that's the case. So example 3, we need to simplify the ratio 8 to 20. So let's go through our steps. We find out the biggest number that goes into both 8 and 20. Well, that would be 4. And we divide both by 4. So divide the 8 by 4 and divide the 20 by 4. 8 divided by 4 is 2. 20 divided by 4 is 5. So the simplified ratio is 2 to 5. I hope that this was helpful for anybody that is doing ratio as a home working this week, especially people in my class. Any questions for people in my class, please just get in touch with me through the usual channels on Teams or Show My Homework. Thank you very much and take care and be safe.